Hello, my dear children. Children, in the class of AC circuits, today we are going to study behavior of inductor across an alternating source. Children, we have already studied inductor as a device in magnetism, and in the very last chapter, electromagnetic induction, we have studied this inductor in detail. So when this inductor, which is made up of coil, conductor, which is made up of conductor, is connected across an AC source, well, we get a purely inductive circuit. What do we get? We get a purely inductive circuit. This is ideal circuit, and this is practically not possible. What is practically possible is LR circuit. Resistance is always there. So we'll talk about practical circuits later on. So this is L connected across an AC source. V, as usual, is the RMS value of this AC source, and this nu is the linear frequency of this alternating source. The instantaneous value of voltage provided by this source is V is equal to V naught sine of omega t. And from this instantaneous value of voltage, we are going to find out instantaneous value of current, as we did in case of resistance, that is resistive circuit, and in case of capacitive circuit. Well, we already know that the value of voltage induced across this coil is, the value of voltage induced across the coil is minus L times di by dt. We have studied this expression for induced EMF, self-induced EMF, in the chapter electromagnetic induction. So at any instant this voltage connected is same as the voltage across inductor. So this V is same as the value of voltage induced across inductor, just magnitude. If we substitute the value of V, what do we get? We get V naught sine of omega t, and that is equal to L times di by dt. We are going to solve it by variable separable method of integration. So what is that? Let us see. We keep di on one side and transfer all other terms onto the other side. So if we keep di on one side, so what do we get? This L goes to other side, it becomes V naught by L sine omega t, and this dt is multiplied like this. So this is V naught by L sine omega t dt. So we have separated the variables. There are two variables, di and dt. So we have kept di on one side and dt on the other side. Now let us integrate both sides. Now we are going to integrate both sides. Now once we integrate both sides, what do we get? Integration of di is going to be V naught by L and then sine of omega t dt integration. Well, integration of di is going to be what? I. The limit is 0 to t here, and the limit is 0 to I. So integration of left hand side is going to be I, and integration of right hand side, integration of right hand side is going to be sine of omega t dt. The integration is going to be minus cos of omega t upon omega. Why it is so? It is so simply because integration of this function is minus cos of omega t upon omega. So if we substitute the value of this integration, no need working out this integration. You can straight away write down the value. In mathematics, of course, you need to solve this integration and find out the value. But in physics, you simply need to write down the correct value of correct integrated value. So what we have done is, we have written the integration of this as this. Now this I is going to be maximum when the value of this cos function is what? When value of this cos function is what? Maximum, and that is 1. So when we write cos of omega t as 1, we get the maximum value of current. So what is this quantity? V naught by omega L. V naught by omega L is nothing but maximum value of current. Yeah, this is negative sign. So the maximum value of current is V naught by omega L. This is peak value of current. And this peak value of current is when cos of omega t is -1. -1 becomes what? Plus. Anyway, V naught by omega L is I naught, that is the peak value of current. And if we write that here, we get I is equal to minus I naught cos of omega t. This is instantaneous value of current. This is instantaneous value of current. And we want to compare the phase of this current with this voltage. For that, we have to either convert this into cosine function, or we'll have to convert this into what? Sine function. Until unless both current and voltage are in the same trigonometrical function, we cannot compare their phases. So let us write it as, this I can be written as, minus I naught sine of 90 minus theta. What is sine of 90 minus theta? Sine of 90 minus theta is cos theta. This all of you know. Sine of 90 minus theta is what? Cos theta. So I have written cos theta as sine of 90 minus theta. Now this sine, this sine is an odd function. This sine is an odd function. Therefore, sine of minus theta is equal to minus sine theta. Cos is even function. Cos of minus theta is same as plus times cos of theta. But sine of minus theta is equal to minus times sine theta. So what we can do is, we can take minus common from here and take out that minus outside, and that minus taken common from here will cancel out this with this minus, and what do we get? We get I is equal to I naught, and then sine of, what do we get? Omega t minus pi by 2. So this is the expression for current in term of sine function. This is instantaneous value of current. So from instantaneous value of voltage, we have found out the instantaneous value of current across inductor. Now let us see the phase. What is phase of voltage? Phase of voltage is what? Omega t, that we know already. What is phase of current? Phase of current is what? Omega t minus pi by 2. This is phase of current. What is difference of these two phases? Difference of these two phases would again be what? Pi by 2. The phase difference between voltage and current is pi by 2. But if you look at the phases, the phase of current is lesser than the phase of voltage by pi by 2. That means I lags behind V by phase pi by 2. This time the phase of I is lagging behind phase of V by pi by 2. So I lags behind V by phase pi by 2. And if we transform this I lags behind V, we can write it as V leads over I by phase pi by 2. So after knowing this phase relationship between current and voltage, we are now in position to draw phasors. Let us draw any one of the two phasors along, say, initial line. This is initial line, and we draw, say, current phasor. If we draw current phasor along initial line, let us look at voltage phasor. And what is its phase with respect to current? See, voltage leads over I by phase pi by 2. So if this is I, the voltage leads. Voltage leads means the value of voltage, the phasor for voltage is going to be made at an angle 90 degree, at an angle pi by 2 radian in anti-clockwise direction. This is going to be your V across inductor. In the last case, in capacitor circuit, this V across capacitor was lagging behind current. Now it is leading. So V leads over I by phase pi by 2. This is the phasor diagram. It can also be made other way. Other way means if we make V along initial line, then we'll have to make I where? In clockwise direction at an angle 90 degree. And that is same as this diagram, just rotate it by 90 degree in clockwise direction. Anyway, what is instantaneous power? Instantaneous value of power can be found out exactly in the same way as we did in the last case. Instantaneous value of power is the product of instantaneous value of voltage and instantaneous value of current. We have already deduced the value of current. What is current? Current is minus I naught cos of omega t. Why don't we substitute this? We can substitute this also. But we have converted this cosine function into sine function to compare the phase. Just for comparison of phase, we have converted into sine function. Otherwise, this conversion is not required. So instantaneous value of power is V into I. V is V naught sine of omega t, and I is what? Minus I naught cos omega t. V naught I naught, yeah, we have a negative sign here. V naught I naught upon 2, we multiplied and divided by 2. As usual, the numerator becomes 2 sine of omega t cos omega t, and this is nothing but sine of 2 omega t. So what is this power? Instantaneous value of power is V naught I naught upon 2 sine of 2 omega t. And if we write this 2 as root 2 into root 2, it is V naught upon root 2. This is I naught upon root 2. This is RMS value of voltage. This is RMS value of current. And of course, there is negative sign here. We have a negative sign here throughout. So this is RMS value of voltage. Yeah, this is RMS value of voltage. This is P is equal to minus V I sine of 2 omega t. This is instantaneous value of power. As usual, you can see the frequency of voltage is what? Angular frequency of instantaneous voltage is omega. Instantaneous frequency of alternating current across inductor is omega. But instantaneous frequency of power is what? 2 omega. That means the frequency at which the power varies is twice the frequency of current and voltage. If we find out the average value of power, we multiply P with dt, integrate it say from 0 to t by 2 or t. You can integrate it from 0 to t by 2 or t. If we integrate it from 0 to t by 2, well, we'll divide it by t by 2. Well, what do we get here? If we write V I sine of 2 omega t here, well, t by 2, this 2 moves up to V naught, to V I upon t, sine of 2 omega t, integration from 0 to t by 2. And integration of sine 2 omega t dt from 0 to t by 2 or t, that will all come out to be 0. When it comes out to be 0, what is average power? Yes, average power is going to be 0. So this is again something very, very revolutionary about inductor. The result is exactly same as we have discussed in case of capacitor. So across inductor, average power consumption is 0. No power consumption means no wattage. Wattless, this condition is called wattless. And the current in the circuit which is there is wattless current. Both in inductive as well as capacitive circuit, the current which is there is wattless current. These are the expressions for the current, and this is wattless current. This current is what? Wattless. Here as well as in the previous case. Well, what is obstruction by inductor? When we connect inductor across an alternating source, what is obstruction by it? Obstruction by inductor to alternating current is known as inductive reactance, and we write it as XL. So let us work out an expression for inductive reactance. We have written this I naught. We have written this I naught for V naught upon omega L. We have written this I naught for V naught upon omega L. And we know that current, any value of current is always equal to the ratio of voltage upon what? Resistance. So we do not say resistance here. The obstruction here is called as reactance, inductive reactance. So current is voltage upon obstruction, and that obstruction is XL. Current is voltage upon obstruction. So V naught upon omega L. This omega L is nothing but obstruction by inductor, that is inductive reactance. So what is this XL, the inductive reactance? That is omega L. And what is omega? This omega is 2 pi nu times L. That means obstruction by inductor is directly proportional to frequency. Very, very important. So obstruction by inductor is directly proportional to frequency. And if we plot a graph of XL against frequency, it is going to be a straight line graph like this. This obstruction by inductor, which is dependent upon frequency, has same unit as the unit of resistance. But remember, the obstruction depends inversely directly on frequency. In previous case, it was depending upon frequency inversely. In case of capacitor, the obstruction depended upon frequency inversely. Here it is directly. So the graph of XL, this is XL is equal to 2 pi nu L. So if we plot a graph of frequency against XL, what do we get? We get a straight line graph, and the slope of the straight line is going to be what? The slope of the straight line is going to be 2 pi L. And if it is XL versus omega graph, then the slope is going to be L. Well, as usual, the frequency of DC source, DC current or voltage is what? 0. Since the frequency of DC current or voltage is 0, therefore obstruction by inductor to DC current is what? 0. Is 0. When frequency is 0, XL is 0. For AC by default we take the frequency as infinite until unless frequency is given. When frequency is given, we take the frequency of alternating current as finite. So when frequency is finite, XL, that is obstruction by inductor, is finite. When frequency is infinite, the obstruction by inductor is what? Infinite. So by default we take the frequency for AC source as infinite, and for DC source it is 0. What does this mean? This simply means when we connect inductor across DC source, there is no obstruction, there is huge value of current in the circuit, and the obstruction is what? There is no obstruction to current. This is 0. But when we connect AC source across inductor, and if the frequency of AC source is taken as infinite, in that case the obstruction is going to be what? Infinite. When obstruction is going to be infinite, that means the current cannot flow. So in this case, through an inductor, AC current cannot flow. DC current can flow. If the AC has finite frequency, in that case AC can also flow with finite obstruction. So what is very, very important about this device across an alternating source is the fact that average value of power consumption is 0. If we want to regulate alternating current, we need to introduce what? XL. By doubling XL, we can halve the current. By tripling XL, we can 1/3 the current. So we can vary current by varying XL, inductive reactance. But at the same time, there is no power consumption. This is what is very, very important. Across both capacitive as well as inductive circuits, the results are same. Overall results are same. Across capacitor as well as across inductor. In an AC circuit, there is no power consumption. And the current which is there in the circuit is called as wattless current. So with this, we come to the end of class today. Thank you very much, and we'll meet very shortly with practical circuits, LR circuits, CR circuits and LCR circuit. For the time being, it's all from my side. Thank you and God bless you all.